I cannot believe that Homer went into. I mean, he went. I know it's part of his job to like do cool stuff and jump into that Scrooge McDuck money pit, but man, the massive humanity in that thing. I don't know if I'd be as brave as him. So kudos to you, Homer. Folks, I'm Chris Waters. We are back at our live stage show here at Comic-Con 2013, and joining me to my left is David to talk about Project Spark. This was introduced during Microsoft's E3 press conference. It's a fantastic creative suite. It's just sprawling and wonderful and all sorts of things, but I'm going to let you do all the high praise about the game. Thank you for coming to the show.
No, thanks for having us. Comic-Con's amazing, so happy to be here.
Have you been to Comic-Con before?
I've not been to Comic-Con before.
It's pretty incredible, isn't it?
It's insane. Yeah, we were just talking backstage that it makes E3 look civilized.
It does. Well, it's also, it's open to the public, so it's definitely, the broader range of humanity coming through, but also everyone's much more exuberant, most of these people aren't working. They're here to enjoy.
There's so many of them. It's just insane. But yeah,
it's pretty fun. And so you got Project Spark here. You're showing it off to some folks. But it's for people who maybe didn't tune in during E3, I gave a totally not complete, shall we say, summary of what the game's all about. But give us a spiel.
So Project Spark, which we're thrilled to be able to reveal, is an open world digital canvas that allows anyone to create, play, or share virtually anything they can imagine. And that's really the essence of what we're trying to, educate people on, what our project is. It's a project that we've been working on for about 2 years. The studio that's building it is Team Dakota, which I'm one of the producers. And we are located in Redmond, Washington, an internal studio at Microsoft. And we came together to build this product, to build a product that allows creation and give it to the end user.
And so, when you're talking about a creative game, there's letting people create their own games, there's letting people create their own worlds, there's letting people create their own characters. There's sort of there's a lot of creativity that goes into making games, and Project Spark is sort of runs the whole gamut.
Yes, absolutely. Right? No, I mean, we you've seen it with any game that has UGC out there. People are yearning to express themselves through UGC. And this content that comes out, and it's kind of siloed in certain things. We have really opened that up. The core game is this, to give this tool out there. So if you want to create a real-time strategy game versus a retro shooter, you can do that. We've really opened it up. Character customization to taking two props together, gluing it together. If you saw the E3 press conference, one of the giant mech was actually made out of houses and other pieces of telescopes for the eyes, or it's whatever you can imagine. You can put it together and make it work for you.
And we're getting a look at some B-roll here behind us. This is Project Spark, and we're just sort of seeing get a look at the artistic style, because it's sort of all of the elements within Project Spark are within this kind of, how would you describe it? Like a little bit fantastical?
Yeah, so I guess you describe it as a storybook fantasy right now. So it is kind of whimsical. The props, the way they blend together, it's very seamless, and it has this very fluid look to it. What you're looking at right now is our voxel-based engine. You can see our terrain, and we really we're able to manipulate the terrain as if it's almost like clay. You just move it around, push it around to form it to however you want.
And this is sort of laying down the terrain section, and this is the kind of thing where you could just sort of have the game generate you some terrain, or you could go in there and micromanage the terrain yourself and
so
get every pixel.
We know that there's different types of players. People want to come in and they have an idea in their head. They know exactly what they want to build, so we give that blank canvas for them. They can come out and just start and build whatever they want. There's other people that say they want to build something, but they're not sure where to go, or they kind of hit that blank paper wall, right? So in a mode like this, we can generate it for them and guide them along. And as you're playing around, we'll bring up questions. Well, what's your hero going to do? Is there a side quest? If so, what is it? And it kind of helps guide a creator along to figure out, to think about questions they may not have thought about.
And the kind of questions that lead to gameplay and to game experiences, because that's also, it's about world creating, but it's also about giving you something to do in that world.
Yeah, and that experience. Yeah, something simple like the time of day. It's like, oh yeah, I didn't think about that. But if you have a nighttime game, or whether it's early morning or late evening, that changes the sunset, the shadow casting. It just gives a different,
A
gives
different
you a
feel
different vibe,
to the whole, different vibe,
So-
a different, maybe, the activities that go down in your little village at night are very different from what
Maybe it's a little
happens during
different,
the day. Yeah.
Yeah, your story starts in a tavern versus a hut, right?
And now this is, some of you guys showed off during the press conference, but this is that freedom to take objects and make them sort of objects and then behaviors and mix and match them. So this rock is now your pet rock, and he's accompanying you, and this is, you just want it's going to take on some goblins or something.
Yeah, so, we know that we're not the first creation game out there, but one of the things I think sets ourselves apart from any other creation game, outside of the fact of how fast you can build something and get in your game and just play it, is the actual language itself. We were inspired by a project called Kodu, which is a visual-based programming language that Microsoft Research developed a few years back, and it's been in schools. Hundreds of schools are using it. I think over 1 million kids have actually been using it.
Cool.
And we saw great rewards that people are actually adopting this visual language. We've taken that and really just, put it on steroids. It's like almost, Kodu 2.0 for just the language aspect, outside of all the terrain and other tools we give you.
Yep.
But there's a condition side and an action side. So when this happens, do this. So like when left stick, do move, and your character will just move. It just works. It's very approachable. We can come in and just start tinkering around, moving things around, or if you want, you can go super deep with it as well.
Now, we've talked a lot so far about the sort of creative impulse of Project Spark, and certainly that's a huge part of this game, but there's also enjoying the creations. This when you have when you're trying to engender a community of creators, you got to give them a platform to share all that stuff.
Yes.
And so that's baked right into Project Spark as well.
Absolutely. It's a great point. I mean, that's really the culmination, is our community. You can create something, you hit share, and anyone with an Xbox 360, Xbox One, or Windows 8 will be able to play it instantly.
Okay.
Which is phenomenal.
And that's cross-platform. If I create something on my Xbox One, a 360 player, a Windows 8 tablet user, they can all experience that.
Yep. And then your profile, we can see it through our website, which will surface our community. You see all the content that they have. Your profile on the website is your soapbox.
Yep.
You can see all the content that you created. People can comment on it. You can respond to your own forum posts about your own game there. This is your
You can engage people about what you've created, not just put it out there and see how many stars people rate.
Yeah, and you can respond to it, or they make a comment. You can go in there and alter your own game and republish it back up to the feed. It's really breaking down the barriers of the platform, as well as the game itself, breaking down the disciplines of artist versus engineer and designer.
That's interesting. You make me think of that kind of collaborative effort almost. That makes me think of a lot of indie development teams. They don't necessarily live all in the same physical location, and so they use that as a way to sort of work on the same project and share it digitally. Is there a way that people in Project Spark will be able to share creative access to their project?
Sharing is the essence of it.
Yeah.
So I'm at Comic-Con right now. At night in my hotel room, I'm making my own game. I'm going to be able to share it, and when I get back to Redmond, I'll be able to play it right there.
But say you had your buddy in Redmond, and you were like, "Hey man, take a look at this, see what you think. Add something in if you want."
Absolutely.
They can do that as well.
You hit share, and then he'll be able to access it right there for you.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So we're just sort of taking a look at this sort of trailer, sort of imagining all the different possibilities. And during one of those trailers, you guys showed off. One of the first things that happens with any user-generated content type game is someone makes Mario 1-1, someone makes Pac-Man or Space Invaders. So we saw some inspiration there, saying like, look, you could imitate something that's out there, use it as an inspiration, or
it's funny you mention that, because people when they first get the tools, they make what they know. Yeah. Like, oh, I love this game, and they do. It's a lot of homages.
Yeah. And kind of a way to get to know the mechanics also, like
absolutely,
like
they know
using a template to to sort of help you learn the game.
There was a game that you may have saw, and there was a goblin flying around, and somebody made it and it's kind of a little homage to it's the goblin wings, it's pilot wings. So he did that. He was a goblin flying around, and then the next person took it, remixed it, and added these canyons through it and a whole little track. Guy took that, remixed it, and added a scoring mechanism and a timer, and then a boost. I mean, so this level, the lineage of this level, you can see where it started from to where it is now. It's really neat to see that.
That's really interesting, because you're almost talking about a scenario in which, you know, people, they have all the creative tools to start from the base level, but then you also have like, all right, well, I want to make a kart racer, but I don't want to work on actually putting together a kart racer. I just want to design tracks, or I just want to make the, you know, I want to just make this tweak. They could go find a kart racer that's already out there and then modify it and make it their own.
Make it their own, yeah. And so, you know, and then that'll become their level. The original creator's level will stay this exactly how it was. Then this level that he added to will now become his level. The original creator will still get credit for participating in that level, but it's all about the community. We'll let the community decide. You know, it's we were talking about it's like it's not about being the most clever or the most creative or the best artist. It's the cat video on YouTube versus the new James Bond trailer. You know, they're both good. It's just you know, it's whatever's out there.
And I like how it's also it traces that lineage. You know, if I take David's kart racer and I put Chris's stamp on it, and then Ryan grabs it, our names are going to be on there. That sort of those credits, right?
Yes, I mean, you will be able to see who participated.
So you can sort of see like the long and winding path that something has taken to get to where it is.
Yep.
Very cool. Well, Project Spark, this is sort of immense creative undertaking, going to be available on Xbox One, on Xbox 360.
And Windows 8.
And Windows 8. So that's a Windows 8 PC, Windows 8 tablet as well.
Correct. And it's to mention it's free to play. And
it's free to play.
Yeah, it's a big point. Yeah, so it's all the games that you saw in that big montage that we had was all stuff that we created with you know, the tools that you'll have from day one.
No kidding.
Yep.
So, you know, if you get a fairly robust tool set right from day one, what part of it is not free to play? Like, what do you sort of pay to get extras? What is that stuff?
You know, we're constantly adding content. We want to add even more and really just expand it. It's we're going to let the community drive it, and we're going to keep building and
new elements
adding
for
more
the tool sets, stuff like that.
Yep, perhaps more themes than what you're seeing here that we've revealed now. And, yeah.
Very cool, David. Project Spark, when is the release date folks can look forward to?
Xbox One launch window.
Cool.
So, yeah, we'll be available then.
Later this year.
Yep, and we've got a beta coming out later as well.
Beta?
Windows 8 beta coming out later.
All right, so if you folks want to get in on the beta, where do they go to sign up for that?
They go to joinprojectspark.com.
All right. David, thanks again.
All right.
Folks, that's a wrap on Project Spark. We are now going to head to the show floor, take a look at what Electronic Arts is showing off here, and then we're back here with Disney Infinity.